Hello, this is Telltale Books again. I'm starting another new author series, one that I've been wanting to start for quite a while because he's one of my favorite authors from when I was reading the science fiction magazines back in the 1980s, and that is Lucius Shepard. Now, Lucius Shepard comes from Lynchburg, Virginia. That's where he was born, and was born in on August 21st, 1943. So this is the 80th anniversary of his birth. Now he died and kind of young. He died in 2014. So he would have only been 70 something when he passed. A little too young, especially for someone who was such an incredibly talented writer, and he didn't publish his first story until 1983. So he was 40 years old when he published his first story, much later than most authors would begin. But that's okay because he did leave us with some 123 works, which I'm going to go through in order of publication, starting with number one, which is the Taylorsville Reconstruction. In the Taylorsville Reconstruction, you've got government agents infiltrating a political group in the South. The political group wants to bring back the Confederate States. And one of the members of the team sent in to infiltrate the group is capable of mind control. Their intention then is to use this person with these mind powers to try and influence events, influence people, influence ideas, influence events in the South, and control what happens. And they do, they infiltrate the group and they apply this. I'll stop there because going further would just spoil the story, and I've already said quite a bit about it. It is technically a novelette, but it's not all that long. But it's not terribly long. It's on the shorter side of novelettes, I think, and it doesn't get into a whole lot of detail about the government agency and what this government program of mind control is all about. I mean, obviously, Shepard is drawing upon the rumors from conspiracy theorists that in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the government actually tried to do different kinds of psi powers and mind control. The style of the story reminds me very much of James Tiptree Jr. It's a kind of satirical piece. It has some moments of tension, has conflict between the characters, has really well developed characters who have their own opinions, often negative, about what's going on, but has that same excellent writing, excellent characterization, that and kind of satirical tone that is typical of many of the Tiptree works, certainly all the ones I've read so far in my James Tiptree exploration. I don't have any knowledge of whether or not Shepard, I know he attended a Clarion workshop. I don't know, I don't know beyond that if Tiptree was at that workshop teaching, or if there was any time before 1983 that Shepard had been in touch with Tiptree. I don't even know if he ever even read any stories by James Tiptree Jr., but it seems likely because there does seem to be an influence here. It's an excellent story, a little too short for my liking. I guess I'd like a little something more from it. So it falls just short of being a top tale, but it is an excellent story, excellent writing. I feel it holds up well today, although the events of the story supposedly happened in the 1980s. I think the story could happen today. You could easily change the story to take place today, and I don't recall any specific reference to dates in the story. So it feels completely current and contemporary, and nothing feels dated about this story. This is for a first story, this is a highly professional launch of Shepard's career. And I know he would go on to do some really great stories after this one, ones which I expect will end up being top tales. And I hope you'll join me in my exploration of Shepard. The next one that I'll come across was published in 1983. I should say the Taylorsville Reconstruction was published in Universe 13, edited by Terry Carr. This was an original anthology series. Obviously, this was the 13th book published in the series. And there are some excellent authors in this book. There's Michael Bishop, Ian Watson, Kim Stanley Robinson, Lucius Shepard, Bruce Sterling, and a couple of authors that I'm not familiar with. Excellent book. I'm very glad to have gotten a hold of this in nice condition. Not quite sure if the Taylorsville Reconstruction is available anywhere else. I was only able to find it in this book, and so I tracked down a used copy and got it. But it wasn't too difficult to find a used copy, and it didn't cost me all that much to buy it either. So you can get a hold of this story if you really want to read it. And if you like contemporary science fiction, I think this is one that you would likely be interested in reading. So I encourage you to look it up. And if you have read it, leave comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about Lucius Shepard. I'm going to continue and go through his entire bibliography. So the next story I said was Solitärio's Eyes. It's his number 2 story that was published in the September 1983 issue of Fantasy and Science Fiction, an issue that I never had. So I did track down a copy already, and it's on its way. And in that issue of Fantasy and Science Fiction, his first magazine appearance, Shepard gets the cover story, the illustration on the covers for his story. So that's pretty great for somebody who's just out of the gate. But I'll be covering that one soon. Gotta wait for that magazine to get here, and then I gotta read it. I haven't been able to find Solitärio's Eyes in anything but that issue of Fantasy and Science Fiction, which is unfortunate, because you don't have free PDFs of that issue online. There aren't any of Shepard's collections that contain that story, so hopefully it's not a really good one, because I won't be able to tell you that you can easily go out and find it. But we'll see. I'll read it and I'll report. It's just a short story. Come on back and see more. I'll be here. In the meantime, like us, subscribe to us, leave comments, visit our Patreon, and maybe help us out. I can use a better camera. This one's, aside from the problems I've had with auto exposure, now there's part of it that's not working properly. It's going down. I need a new camera. And so any kind of help you would feel like giving us by contributing $10 a month to our Patreon would be very, very welcome. Or we have our Etsy store where we are selling books. If you buy one of those books, a certain amount of that money will be going into our bank account, and we'll be able to use it toward that new camera. And so you could help us out that way. We're adding books all the time. We've been selling books quite a bit lately, and so Emily is constantly scouring used bookstores and resale stores looking for really good, really different, really interesting books that we can put in our Etsy store. And we also have some custom-made work of art jewelry style bookmarks for sale in our Etsy store. They're reasonably priced too, but these are one of a kind, made by Emily under her Three Crystals LLC jewelry store. And she is agreeing to sell them through the Telltale Books Etsy store. And she gets the money, of course, but I'll be back with more Lucius, Shepard, and lots of other authors coming before that. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.